want to say that I certainly want to say I support all of the efforts to root out the waste, fraud, and abuse where it exists. So many of the ideas that both Chairman Grassley and Ranking Member Leahy have suggested are good. I support almost all of them. The amendments that Senator Grassley added to the bill they proposed last year was something that I supported, and many of them are embodied in the legislation that Senator Flake has introduced, which I have co-sponsored, as well with Senator Cornyn. So this is not an issue of reforming. There's general consensus on reform, and reform did not hold back the bill from being modified last year. Let's make no mistake about that. Let's let the record show. Nobody was opposing the reforms that I'm aware of at all, including providing new authorities to DHS to crack down on bad actors, increasing compliance and reporting, requiring transparency, and mandating audits. So where did the fight come? Well, it was a regional fight. And, you know, there was an idea that urban areas like New York should not get EB5 money. Now, I hasten to add that EB5 doesn't just go to New York City in my state. It's helped some cities that really need help, the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, downtown Rochester, and things like that. But let's just take New York City. What the proposal last time tried to do is impose a rural model on New York City. So you had to live within a certain area to qualify as a poor person who would benefit. That's not how it works in New York City. We have 8 million people in an area, you know, 1/50th the size or 100th the size of Iowa. It's very much smaller than Iowa, let's say, or Vermont. And people in the South Bronx travel across several census districts to go sell food or clean or build an office tower. Just as it would help a ski resort in Vermont or a big manufacturing plant in Iowa, it helps us. And to draw a line that says because you have to travel more, even though you're probably more poor, the poorest district congressional in America is the South Bronx. Many of the people in the South Bronx work in the office towers in Manhattan. They do. That's how it is. That's their jobs. Those are like our factories. And you don't get in a car and drive 30 miles to go. You get on the subway and you get over there. But the way the compromise was structured, it would have knocked all of that out. I don't see why a poor person in the South Bronx should be any less entitled to the benefits of this program than a poor person in Vermont or in Iowa or anywhere else. So my plea to my colleagues, both for and against this bill, is let's reform it. Let's reform it in a strong, tough way. I have complete agreement with what Senators Grassley and Feinstein said about reform. But let's then come up with a compromise, which we offered. We even offered, Senator Cornyn and I, a rural set-aside. We didn't ask for an urban set-aside. And I would hasten to add, you know, this is, everyone says this is a New York program. We're not the largest state in benefit betting from this. It happens to be California. And if you look at the map, it's spread out across the country, the benefits of this program. We need jobs in America. We need good paying jobs. We need to lift poor people out of poverty. We need to keep middle class people from falling in the middle class. We don't have that many tools. EB5 is not the perfect tool, but it can be made more perfect. But to eliminate it at a time when we're desperate to help people stay in the middle class and get to the middle class makes no sense. So my plea to my colleagues, compromise. Can't be all one way. Can't be it only works for rural areas because the criteria that are set will eliminate it from being worked in large urban areas. And let's get it to work.